Hello everyone, it is Exo-Man, and it is time for me to talk with you about the coronavirus and the so-called vaccine, which I don't call a vaccine because if you research the definition of vaccine, it changed when we were introduced to the coronavirus. And if you look up the historic definition, it was the same for hundreds of years, but now they changed it. And we know why. So anyway, that's another video. I've done a video on that. But I think that it's a good idea to let someone who has been vaccine injured speak for me in a sense. But it is important to recognize that myself as an example, I have never in the past known people who were injured by flu shots or vaccines or things like that. Never. Now I'll be 60 this November, and that's a long time. I have not ever known anybody who's been injured by a shot or a vaccine. Now we know people who have died from this vaccine. We know people who have been injured, and one of those people was my childhood friend. If you know my history, you know I had a very unstable childhood. We lived like itinerants. We lived like gypsies. So I didn't get to maintain relationships, just moving around the continent too much. But this was my friend for a long period of my childhood, relatively long, my only best friend. And now he has, as we have become adults and been introduced to this vaccine, his life has been devastated by being vaccinated for the coronavirus. So I figure rather than speak, about things that I think I know or do know, I'd let my friend just explain his story. He made a video for me to explain what happened to him, and that's very telling. We've had people that we know who have been injured and people that we know have died. And how better to explain that and get that information out there that is so vital to all of us than let the people who've been injured share their stories. Now before this, let me just say that what I have been hearing is that the VAERS system for reporting vaccine injuries and deaths can be very challenging. And so what people are saying to me is that we're not getting the numbers. We're not getting the proper numbers. What I'm told is that it can be so challenging with so many forms and confirmations needed to properly report your vaccine injury that a lot of people just aren't following through. They aren't able to do it. They can't figure it out. So, and it makes sense that, a lot of times you don't hear from people, just like when you're doing the census, you just don't get responses. So the question is, are we getting anywhere near the accurate numbers of what is actually occurring? So in my opinion, the best way is the organic way of people. This is what social media was for. It was for sharing. It was for freedom, the free exchange of information, or so we thought. But that's been a problem. There's been a lot of foot dragging and a lot of, stonewalling and just problems, with a lot of these big platforms getting people's stories out. So I think this is the best way to do it, is people need to get on and talk. And if they're not motivated to do it themselves, maybe they can do it in concert with their friends, and if they require help them. So without further ado, here is my childhood friend Greg's story.
Hi, my name is Greg Miller. I'm living in the Philippines right now. I moved here about 4 years ago, and then we had the big lockdown. My ability to work, the business that we were getting went to like zero. So eventually me and my wife went and got the shot. We had astrazeneca vaccine. It was about 20 days after this that I had a stroke. I had ischemic stroke, which was from a blood clot, and I got severe damage. I've got some dead parts of my brain. I can barely walk. My left arm is not functioning. Lots of things we're having to do to try and keep going. We went to the embassy. We spoke with U.S. Social Security office, and they were so much less than helpful. Basically, we got nothing at all. I'm 58 years old. We have a little company. We do car audio brands. I'm able to make just a very small amount of money as getting commissions from sales. But every month is a struggle because I have to balance the doctors, the medication, the physical therapy, everything with virtually no money whatsoever. I mean, every month is a mystery if we're going to be able to keep going. And here's the real problem. With all these medications, I went and talked to my doctor about the blood thinners that I take to keep me from having another stroke. And he looked over my blood test and all of my, my history and everything, and he said that the AstraZeneca has a bad reputation for causing strokes. In fact, that Europe had banned it, England as well. Before the stroke, I was completely healthy. My blood pressure was always perfect, and my heart function perfect. Now that I can barely walk, and I have all these mental issues, some memory issues and things like this. Also, like a little bit like autism, bright lights and loud sounds and things like that really affect me. But really, the walking, the balance, I mean, it's just a real struggle to get by. And I'm about 100% sure that I got this as a result of a stroke, because I've never, ever had any physical issues like this. Thank you.